This is the 9 to 5 show. The 9 to 5 show is a web-based talk show in the spirit of like the nightly show where we just go out and we go out in the metaverse, find interesting people, specifically BIPOC, Black, Indigenous people of color, who are entrepreneurs, creatives, CEOs, or just people doing shit in their industry. And we have conversations. It's called the 9 to 5 because those are the standard working hours if you're working a W-2 job. But the reality of entrepreneurship is that you work 24/7. When you're trying to leave the 9 to 5, you try to become an entrepreneur, you think you're going to work less hours, end up working a lot more. If you're not careful, if you're not vertically integrated, leveraging technology and the internet, you leave a lot of money on the table and end up spending a lot of time doing shit you don't even need to do. Let me hide myself. Today's topic is Saint Sai. So today's topic we'll be talking to my sister Valeska Saint Jacques, currently based in Chicago. She's got her own little studio set up over there.
And this episode is brought to you by Love, Peace, and Spades, occurring every first Wednesday at the Lion Hotel right here in downtown LA. Love, Peace, and Spades, or rather fly, game night. Indeed.
Old beta one, so actually I want to keep the background.
So,
Who are you? Might add these questions.
most of my Caribbean lo-fi beats have been more popular, but I would just like to keep it general. Music producer for lo-fi beats. I'm also working towards being a mix engineer and mastering as well. The long answer would be I'm still trying to figure out who I am. I think that was part of our text message was for this new year, I've been, asking myself, part of being a part of the music industry or business is your brand and how you show up and what are people's first impressions of you. And a lot of it for someone like me who would be more of like an indie artist, it would be through the internet, right? That's where everyone is. And that's kind of hard for me right now, figuring out how I want to present like me, who am, that coincides with my artistry, right? So that there's nothing too conflicting between the two, or maybe having conflicting things could be to my benefit. But that's like the whole conversation is, how do I even want to present myself? Do I want to be completely open about everything that's happening to me? Or do I want to be more calculated and show one aspect of something and then that be the thing that I start off with? So it's that whole conversation of literally asking myself, like, okay, who am I? And then how do I want to be perceived? Yeah.
It sounds like it's a real conflict of really finding yourself and then communicating that to other people while doing the thing you want to do and figuring out a way to present that. And I think that's probably why, is that about right?
Yep.
Cool.
I was even, speaking with someone we both know, but I don't want to put it out on the internet, that I currently live with. I was literally telling him like how open do I want to be, and like if I am completely like I want to be authentic, right? I want to choose something where it's like it's natural for me to, and in essence I do have to perform this, but it's a natural performance for me. But the type of things that float in my head is like, oh my gosh, what if me being is like too cringe, or like what if I'm a little too authentic and like people are just like, ooh, this is gross. It's like all this negative talk. But it's like at some point I have to be accepting of even maybe the cringe part of me or like the weird part of me, and just be like, you know what, this is just me, this is what it is, this is what y'all gonna get. I guess it kind of starts with that, like just being with yourself and accepting that, and just having no shame about it, to the point where it's natural to just kind of share that with the world. Even if I start to hear negative talk about it, it's like, well, this is who I am. Like, I can't really change that about myself. So I guess that person's just gonna stay mad, you know?
Like, it's their problem. Like, you're you. They're mad at you being you. That's their problem. It sounds like what you're saying.
Yeah. And then there's the other aspect of, oh, is this part of me even marketable? Like, it's one thing to just be myself.
That's that real one.
And then there's the other part of like, yeah, but will anyone really care and buy into that?
Like,
you know?
Do people even want that? Like you made a product,
Yeah.
but doesn't mean everyone's gonna buy it. It's like New Coke. It's like, okay, you were innovative. You did a bunch of interesting chemistry stuff. I didn't even know I could do that. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But do people want it? And so it's not even like of another product out in the world. Like, it's not like, oh, I created a new sunscreen. It's yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like that's really creating like a sense of dissonance of trying to understand. There's the putting yourself out there, and then there's the putting something out there that's authentic, that people actually want, and finding that line.
And maybe part of that is not even thinking about that. Because it's like whenever a company creates a new or a new product, it's kind of like you're just throwing things and seeing what sticks. And if that doesn't stick, I guess you tweak it until...
We did. Are you still on the Zoom?
Well, because I didn't see you, I got out of it.
Okay, it should have saved, because Loom said that there was a technical issue, so that Loom may not have. Connect to audio. I need to write down a systems checklist.
I don't get why. I'm having a boomer moment.
Loom needs both. I'm struggling trying to figure out TikTok in terms of like how to change the background, so that I can like show pictures and my face at the same time. And I feel so fucking old. It's really scary. Oh, I turned 34 this year. Jesus.
Facts.
That was fast. 4 years ago, I was 30. Yet 4 years ago, I don't even remember 4 years ago. I know personally, I had my whole brain thing. I didn't even know about it. So that was an entire train wreck.
Oh boy.
Also, while you're troubleshooting, I've had a debate in my mind because I was kind of concerned, or maybe, you know what? No, I think I know what I'm going to do. I was debating if I should do these while smoking, but I think that I'm just going to keep that up to depending on the person who I'm interviewing, and if they want to do that too, because that type of conversation is going to be completely different.
Oh, now I can see myself.
Yes. Okay.
So
why do you feel like you gotta be... Are we recording?
We are recording. Yeah, I think I know the question I
and
want to ask.
you can hear me, right?
Yes. There's actually an echo. I'm going to hang up the phone now.
Okay.
Before we get to that question, let's just finish up your questions. Let's see. Where's that photo of me?
What I wanted to ask you was, why do you feel like it could be fun depending on the topic and what you want to do, but why be under the influence when you're trying to have a discussion with somebody?
Because I found that I can have discussions, but they're completely different types of discussions. Like, conversation goes places we end up walking through doors that I never would have anticipated. Because right now I have these questions, and the video... Where's my video?
What if that you're putting that limitation on yourself? You're thinking in your head, subconsciously, I can't have like a really nuanced, in-depth convo unless I'm high. What if you're creating that limitation on yourself?
Which is a possibility.
Because I've seen plenty of interviews where both people are sober and the conversation goes in places they initially didn't think it was gonna go. But it had less to do with being high and just being just open to their, I think it has more to do with their curiosity. As the person is talking, the person listening is very in tune to what the person is saying, and then
and not multitasking and being present. Yes.
ask further questions about what was being said.
I think,
of course, if this topic was spoken when everyone was high, because then it would be funny.
It would be funny.
But I don't think you have to. I mean, you could make it and ask the person that you're interviewing, hey, do you want me to be high right now, or you just want me to be normal? That would be a cool thing to add to your podcast. But don't limit in thinking that, oh wow, hello?
I can hear you. It's just fading in and out. I'm trying to close browser windows.
Okay, each time you don't say anything, keep thinking like it's glitched or...
No, I'm just trying to close browser windows because the computer's doing a lot right now.
This is the MacBook you purchased?
This is the MacBook. This is the Air. I should have gotten the Pro. A good friend who made recommendations is just...
You might be able to do a trade-in.
I got this at Best Buy?
Yeah, go back to Best Buy and say,
I owe them
actually want Pro instead.
I owe them some money. And I threw out the box. I was like, nope, this is the back top I'm going to use forever. Yeah, wasn't very intelligent at that time. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. Okay. Whoa.
Boomer moment.
Yeah, we gotta close some of these down. You know what? How am I so does boomer now just mean anybody who just struggles with technology?
Yeah, I just use it whenever anyone's acting elderly to me.
Acting elderly?
Yeah.
Okay.
No cap, fam. Please edit that out.
Listen.
I refuse. I jokingly, ironically.
These are words that you decided to utter from your mouth. I was not involved in the choosing of words. So yeah.
Anyway, listen, kids, I'm hip and young, so.
No, I'm not. I'm just gonna stop.
Okay, you're free to give me the next question.
Next question is, what do you do? No, you kind of talked about that in the first one, but
so separating who I am from what I do.
Yes.
That was a good catch.
Wait. Yeah. The second question is, what do you do?
So that's a good question. I guess I shouldn't have equated who I am to what I do, but a lot of people do that.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah. Yep. And I fell into that pitfall just now.
Yeah, you certainly did. But it's okay. This is no judgment area. And it's not about judgment. It's about learning about ourselves and being able to grow. And so would you like to go back and kind of reframe that of who you are versus what you do?
Sure, I'll try. So personally, how I see myself is I think I am a creative individual. Actually, funny enough, side note, I did do do you know that test, Enneagram? Enneagram? Do you know about that test?
No. What is it? It's not the Myers-Briggs or the
no, it's different. It goes like, it assigns your personality to numbers.
Okay.
And I actually took that maybe the other
Enneagram
month or so.
Enneagram. No, I've actually never seen that. Here.
Yeah, Enneagram personality test.
I can actually, the one that I decided to use Zoom was so that I can give you control and you can drive screen. So you have control now. So one other great feature about this format of interviews is that we can surf the web together. So you now have control of the stage, and you can bring to the stage whatever you'd like. Ideally, anything that I can still post on YouTube without getting demonetized.
Yeah, I mean, you can just search up the name of this. I'm gonna send in the chat like how to spell it here. It's called Enneagram test. But before I get into like what I scored on this test, I'll answer the question in that I think that in general, I am a creative person who is, I think I'm pretty compassionate when it comes to dealing with other people. I do like to help people, which can be a double-edged sword sometimes. But I like to focus on more of the positive aspect of that. The more negative sides of me is being a pleaser. That's an aspect that I do and am working on. But in general, I think I'm a pretty creative, compassionate person who can be very easily curious about things. I like to think that I'm pretty open-minded in general. Yeah, we'll just stick to those for now. As to what I actually scored on the Enneagram, and excuse me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, because I probably am. You word. Am I saying it correctly?
No, I can't see it. On your screen?
Oh, on the chat.
Oh.
So apparently I took this December 15th.
Oh my God. Wow. That is hilarious. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Bruh. Okay. Remember what I told you about E8? This is literally what I've been working on. Like, I have this shape. This is so fucking trippy. I gotta show you this.
Okay. Gotta zoom in for the peoples. I see.
Yeah. This was like a breakthrough. So, okay. We'll come back to this later. But, okay. What is the Enneagram?
So the Enneagram is a personality system that aims to reveal how emotions drive our lives and how we engage with others in an effort to get what we want and need. Enneagram defines 9 personality types, each with its own set of strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities for personal growth. So I just read what it is. I apparently scored, I was a number, where did I fall into? My primary type is a 1, apparently.
Okay, what is a 1?
In a nutshell, and I'm reading this, 1s are defined by their belief that everything must be in order and by their feeling that they must always be right. They show great commitment and determination to improve conditions that they find need improvement, and they are forward in encouraging others to improve their performances too. At their core, 1s are the model children of the Enneagram world, dutiful, responsible, and perfection-seeking. At the same time, they are idealist, sense that they believe they know exactly how to perfect the world, and they wonder why others do not see it. Many 1s, proselytize about the one true set of rules, one true course of action, or how things ought to be. They are often drawn to positions of teaching, advocacy, or inspirational leadership, where they can share their vision and seek to reform the world. As teachers, they are creative, exemplary, and motivating. 1s can be uncompromising in their pursuit of perfection, and ironically, this behavior is itself imperfect. 1s are perpetually in danger of building up totalitarian systems, even if only in the 1's own head, where they try to lay down the laws of decent society and stop listening to other points of view. To see the imperfect and to accept and endure it is the life task of the 1 if they want to be happy.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. Sorry for butchering certain words, but yeah, there's some of this that I agree with in my personality, and then there are others that I disagree with, which do get addressed when you do this test, because then they have things called wings and arrows. And when I read the wings and the arrows, then it made me agree with what it was saying, what my personality is like a wing Wings are, so when you do this test, you have two potential wings from like you as a person. So my number is a 1, but my wings, which are the types that are adjacent to your primary type, which the primary type explains the core of your behavior, wing drives the secondary aspects of who they are. So I'm a 1, but my wings are 9 and 2, which for 9s, they're more flexible. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So 9s are easygoing, self-effacing people who are motivated to create harmony in their environments and heal conflicts. That is a very me thing. I'm very much that type. Like, I like to go with the flow. I don't like confrontation. If I can balance a situation out, I will. And then my second wing is a 2, which 2s are caring, empathetic people who want to establish themselves as generous and unselfish in the eyes of others. At their core, 2s fear being unwanted, so they adopt a strategy of people pleasing to prove they are worthy of someone's love. So I brought that up and it did show that. And now I'm going to move on to the arrows, which in contrast with wings are somewhat related to our primary type. Arrows are aspects of our personality that may be completely neglected. Basically, my understanding of an arrow is like arrows can help you to be a better you. If you kind of lean towards these numbers, they can kind of help balance out the negative aspects of yourself, is what I understand arrows to be.
Interesting. Okay.
And my arrows would be 7 and 4.
On here, it says those are growth and stress.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those are areas of, I guess, growth, but of areas you feel like will help you balance.
Interesting. They kind of flipped the two. Like I said 7, right? Developing through 7. I'm trying to read like a really quick. So it's saying for like if I lean more towards a 7, so the key development point for a 1 to rediscover the concept of having spontaneous fun, where 1s focus on should do's, feeling that they must play by the rules. 7s are instinctively optimistic, fun, loving, and self-forgiving. So if I lean more towards that could help balance the critical part aspects of me. And then if I looked at 4, okay, so where 1s focus on improvement, feeling that they can better everything and everyone in their path, 4s instinctively want to express their creativity and uniqueness, placing their feelings at the center of their universe. A 1 can grow then by thinking less about what they should do and more about what they want to do, rather than societal expectations.
Think more
So
about
funny enough,
think of more what they want to do versus what they should do.
By thinking less about what they should do and more about what they want to do, rather than societal expectations. So it's funny because literally when we started this, I was saying how with me presenting myself to the internet and then all the things that I think about when it comes to that, you know, if I lean more towards my 4 aspect of just, okay, aside from being marketable or if people will like this aspect of me, what do I want to present? So yeah, this is a pretty cool test if anyone wants to do it. I did it through...
Yeah, who'd you do it through? So, like, we're here at the Enneagram Institute.
I didn't do it through them. And side note, no one is sponsored by these people.
Yeah, they're not pissed.
I did have to pay, I think, $30 to get, like, a dissertation breakdown, which is, like, how many pages is this? Hold on. Oops. This breakdown of everything is 18 pages.
That's a lot.
So if you want an 18-page breakdown about your personality, you got to pay $30. And I did it through Truity. Oops, I need to click that. Yes, Truity. Where it says the Truity Enneagram. Yeah.
Oh, here it
That
is.
first one. Yep. That's what I took. And basically, it's like 105 questions. Don't think too long on the questions. The first instinct on how I wanted to answer it, that's how I clicked it.
Okay.
So, like, that's how I answered. It would be the correct way of saying that. But yeah, so I guess that was a long answer to who I am as an individual. So I think reading that test helped me to realize like how much of a perfectionist I tend to be. And it's not to like toot my horn or anything, because I feel like that way can be pretty harmful. Now you're just constantly just overthinking everything, and all you got to do is just do something. So I'm not really praising like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. Like, it's like annoying. It's an annoying thing. Anywho, to answer, what I do is I make music. I like to create music. I like to create beats. Learning how to do the post-production of music. So that's like mixing and mastering, all exciting stuff. Currently in that journey. So last year, literally January 1st of 2023, I decided to create a YouTube channel. I started to publish my lo-fi beats. And that was just, under the name Saint Sci Lo-Fi.
So everybody watching
and
this,
that was
like and subscribe. No, just wanted to put a plug. I always want to promote people. So for those of you who are watching this, definitely go and subscribe to Saint Sci. I'll put the link in the description, the bio below.
Yes, the whole reason I did that was it was to help me get out of my head and just be like, just to have stuff out. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it was to help me to just push to create more and then just release it. So last year I created the most music ever, because per release I had at least 9 beats.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that.
Per release.
78
So
videos?
that means I made that like, I don't know, like 60. I released 60 plus beats last year. So that is a big feat for me, because I could not say that for 2022 or 2021 or the years before then. Like, I was not creatively, outputting like that. So I did that. I tried to release once a month, but due to certain things, it didn't happen. But I think I released like 6 lo-fi albums, which is great. So I take that for a win. Now moving on to 2024, I'm trying to actually learn more and get better. Whenever I listen to these songs, like, definitely hear where I can improve. So that is 2024 for me when it comes to my music, is sitting down and focusing on how I can be better. The sound production, the things that I create, how can we kind of push it to the next level?
Okay.
Yeah, that I do.
I'd love to, I've sampled some of these, and I can't remember which one I love, but is there one that you really felt pushed you growth-wise, since that's on your Enneagram chart? And we can probably play a little bit here for the audience. Which one should we...
Well, I think my most recent one that I released, I think...
Oh.
So not that one. Scroll up. Caribbean Lo-Fi, scroll down. The Crystal Cave. Yeah, that one. Crystal Cave.
Okay, here we go.
I think that one, like, theme-wise of what I was trying, it sounds a bit more cohesive.
Okay.
And that was a bit more intentional on my part.
I'm loving these effects. But Yeah.
Yeah, so the theme that I wanted to go for Crystal Cave was, girl, you're sitting, that's Saint Sai, and she's in a cave. So it's a bit more inward reflection. So it's not as like exciting as like my previous Caribbean lo-fi stuff. Obviously with lo-fi, nothing's too exciting, but there's more of like a reflection kind of happening. So I think theme-wise, I tried to limit the amount of instruments that I made per each song.
Intentionally.
And the drums as well, like the drum section, I try to stick with like the same sounds. So it just sounds probably a bit more consistent, which I wasn't really aiming for with the other stuff.
So it sounds like, no pun intended, this is more of a more distilled, more focused composition versus the others that you've put together.
Other stuff, I was just kind of like, all right, I just need to create something, and then whatever I created just kind of went. There wasn't really too strong of a theme while I was making each song, but I tried to make this sound a little more personal, especially in the song. Like songs or tracks like Still is a good one. This one has the most beats, a total of 15, but like Lono, a lot of more pieces that sound just a bit more reflective.
Are those all on this track, or are those kind of, because I realize this is an hour-long compilation. This isn't just a 1 5-minute track. So at 50.
Yeah, so how I kind of organize my YouTube is whenever I have a new set of songs or like an album, I release all the songs on that one video. Because usually when people are listening to lo-fi, they're like in the middle of doing something.
Yeah.
So having it be like an hour long, maybe it takes an hour to do a certain task. So you can just have this play in the background.
As a loop. Okay.
Yes. Wait, can you hold on?
Yeah. I guess we'll go for a commercial break real quick. For everyone out there, listen to some of these as well in the background when I was working. They're pretty feeling it right now, right? Yeah, give it a, if you need some new music, I know lo-fi has always been an option. There's a lot of different versions nowadays, but this is Caribbean lo-fi.
Sorry, I was cooking beans and I totally forgot about them and they burned.
Like a true Haitian.
I start smelling like, what is that? And then
You burned your beans.
yeah, so they're all burned, so I have to reboil beans, which is gonna take another hour. Anyway, what was I saying?
You were saying that you're making the track an hour long so that people can listen to it in the background while they were working.
So yes, but because I have a lot more tracks on this one, the songs are kind of shorter in length. So now you hear a bit more of a variety of sounds happening, which is cool. Yeah, so songs like Spellbound, Lone Isle, Hidden Secret, Still, Distant Memories are way more effective. And then the other stuff like Nirvana are a bit more on the lighter, happier side, which gives like a nice balance. And then I do have a song called IET, which, what does that mean? Yeah, it's just an ode to the motherland. I'm not sure if I've been clear about, like, because I do make Caribbean lo-fi. Why Caribbean lo-fi? Well, my background is Caribbean. Both of my parents are Haitian. Both of our parents were born and raised in Haiti. Unfortunately, I have not visited just due to the state of the country sometimes, but that is definitely a goal of mine to visit Haiti and to know that part of me a bit more.
Because you've never been at all. No, I was there when I was like 5, but you've never been.
Nope.
Gotta put that on the list. I'm trying to find it. Here it is. Let's give that one a listen. Okay. Oh, somebody was laying on melodies on this one.
This one's, a bit more fun. I feel like it just gives that lightheartedness about being on the island of Haiti by a mango tree. By the way, this is all we hear from like our parents or aunts. It's just like, oh, just the mangoes trees and the mangoes are great. So I'm just envisioning you're like in between two mango trees on a hammock. And like, oh wow, you're on it, and then a mango falls on your lap, and you're just enjoying a nice mango on a hammock, on a nice, warm afternoon in Haiti, looking at the sunset. So these are the vibes I hope people feel when they listen to this song. And then there's a little bit of, that compa groove in there.
Yeah. So I've needed. We don't have a theme song for the channel yet. Ooh, no, go back. Is there one that you would recommend or that we could potentially acquire from you, given the tone of the
You
pace?
mean from my lo-fi stuff, or do you want me to just customize one?
Either way, do you feel like, I'd love to have one where it has your signature, but if you want to create one specifically for us, that'd be cool too.
I think I'd prefer to... Sorry, if you're wondering where I'm looking, I have 2 monitors.
Okay.
I'm moving it this way, so it looks like I'm looking at you. I think I'd prefer maybe customizing one, because I'm not sure if you're trying to go for a laid-back Caribbean vibe, or if there's you gotta tell me how you want to present this podcast.
So the podcast, it's really shit like this, but it really depends on the energy of the person who comes in. So your music is lo-fi, but if someone comes in with trill music, it's a whole different vibe. And some people aren't all in music, so I'll be interviewing creators and actors and designers, but it's business entrepreneurs, so anybody who's out there creating product from them and providing that out there. And that might be like sandwiches or t-shirts or Teslas.
Then why don't you give me a summary of what's the point of this podcast? What type of information are you trying to put out there? And what's the vibe of it? Is it supposed to be like motivating when people listen in? Wow, I was able to learn about all these tips on entrepreneurship. It makes a difference than someone who is doing a podcast talking about celebrities or celebrity gossip. It's a different vibe.
That is a whole different vibe. You're right. Yeah. I think it's the second or third one that you talked about in terms of giving insights. It's really a matter of making it personable. And the idea for this podcast came to me from another podcast I follow, which is Diary of a CEO, where they're in the studio and it's really great, but he only or predominantly interviews people who are already successful. And that makes sense. He wants to present success to your audience so that they can emulate and learn. But I think there's a bit of a trap there because, especially the way the podcast circuit is currently happening right now, you almost have tiers where you have people who focus on the highly successful people, and you have people who just focus on the YouTube people, and then you just have people who are just talking amongst themselves that may or may not even be related to business. And so what I wanted to do is especially have a full gamut. So with you, being able to come back to and maybe have an interview 5 or 10 years down the road, and maybe come back to this interview and we can talk about how things have changed, how things have progressed. But in this way, we're able to take a snapshot of you and them at a time that is now. This is St. Side today, as of January 4th, 2024, because it just provides you another platform to get more marketing. So this is also a marketing play. That's why I keep telling people, subscribe to Saint Sai now. You know, like that.
Yeah, do it.
Or spiders will crawl into your ears when you're sleeping. But yeah, and so in that sense, especially being out here in LA, there are a lot of people who are starting out, and even the whole thing about me building this rig I keep talking about on other channels is supporting small business, supporting entrepreneurs, and supporting people who are just coming out of the gate to give them, you know, more fuel, because that's the value is like what value do I give to Elon by interviewing Elon? Like, it's all for me. But if I can promote you and other people's brands, then we can all kind of create our own internal sense of network of masterminds, which is almost what happens on YouTube a lot. When you go out, you end up seeing that a lot of people on YouTube start talking to a lot of other people on YouTube. And so YouTube is just YouTube talking to YouTube. I mean, it's YouTube, but doing it in a way that promotes BIPOC small business entrepreneurs. And in terms of the output of where this is going, this will be posted on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is very buttoned up and very corporate and very, you know, all of that. There's a whole thing they talk about that's like LinkedIn has this like cringe factor of like, why do you talk like that? Like, nobody talks that way on anywhere else. I think like the polar opposite is like Twitter. You can be scrolling and see somebody like getting stabbed, a fight, some AI craziness, and then like economic data from like Palestine. And then, but if you go to LinkedIn, it's either like memes, oh, business mergers, or hey, I've graduated to another position. It's very box. And so trying to break that mold and being contrarian.
LinkedIn, you know, is weird to me as a social media platform. It's weird. It's like you have one on one side, you have what you're saying, people all buttoned up and serious. On the other side, like people are posting pictures about their babies. It's just like, what is happening? It's just a mess. So that's why I kind of avoid it, because, you know, it's annoying platform to me. But before you say anything, I have read, especially for people in music, that they were actually able to get opportunities through that. So yeah, I guess I have to get over it, but it's annoying, like weird.
Very annoying. And I think that the way to really be successful on LinkedIn is to not act like it's LinkedIn. Because I think the problem is that people enter LinkedIn thinking about getting the job, and so they talk on LinkedIn like they would talk on the interview. And so it's just, and people see that and like, oh, that's how I should post because that person was successful. But I think that, or they're gonna be like inspirational, which is cool. But yeah, we're not gonna talk. Well, this is a whole other conversation. But I think the thing that people forget is that LinkedIn is still on the internet. Like, it's still the internet.
I was gonna say that, like, right back to that first thing that I mentioned is, you know, I guess now it's also kind of leading into the corporate world. I don't know. I don't live in the corporate world like that. I'm in the healthcare and music world. So that's all I know. When it comes to like corporate America, like, I don't know. But it seems like it is kind of bleeding onto, like, you know how there's like YouTube influencers, and again, them as a person is the brand, like it is them. So I guess it's kind of bleeding into the corporate world where, like, we don't want just another Bob. We want a Bob who's, you know, really interesting and has interesting takes on mental health or something, if that makes sense. Yeah, like this TED Talk, it's like, not that you have to give a TED Talk, but it's like, okay, what are you on the internet for? Are you on the internet to entertain? Are you on the internet to inform? Or are you on, what's the third thing? It's entertain, inform.
Entertain, inform.
I feel like there's a third thing. But yeah, it's like when you're on LinkedIn, kind of understanding like how you want to show a different aspect of you that is not just like all business related and you're code switching so that you sound more proper.
There it is. Code switching. I'm so glad you said that. That's basically what it is. It's code switching.
I guess there's less of that is needed, maybe. I can't really speak for the corporate world like that.
Well, I guess I can lend some light to that. But yeah, in the corporate world, there's a lot of euphemisms, so you don't ever call anything what it is, and it's part of this marketing, a self-promotional marketing where you position yourself as a thought leader and someone of value because you have the education, honestly, to be this professional. Like, you're able to be professional. And so you're able to be professional. Like, you're able to be not that you're a professional person, but you're professionally yourself. It's a very, yeah. And so
I get it.
in that this person right here, like this person, I assume she's a doctor. And it's a matter of, okay, there's the presentation that she will present herself on her page or in a interview panel or when she's defending her dissertation. But then there's the personal version of like the personal why. And, you know, she's talking about here being a Black doctor and what it takes and servicing the community. And maybe it's just the difference between, are you on here to make money or do you actually have a purpose? And I think the biggest, at least for me, it's always been a matter of Gary Vee. It's like those who don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, he curses a lot, but he's been on the internet and talking about social media platforms and being able to catch trends and chasing your passion forever. But he curses a lot. Doesn't wear suits. He's the absolute opposite of LinkedIn. And everybody knows this. Nobody does it like him, or very few people do. And so, like you said, they do this balancing act where they try to act corporate, but they also try to act like themselves when they're trying to figure out who they are. And so it gets very awkward because this is why this question is here, because it's like, we're going to figure out who you are, because you are an individual, but you're a snowflake just like everybody else. But because of that, then there are going to be other people who resonate with you and your story and the things that you provide. And so when you pretend to be something you're not, you end up attracting things that you don't want because that's not you. And so, like, I cuss. That's why I have the struggle too in wanting to like smoke on here. That, just to answer your question from earlier, it wasn't because I wanted to smoke and I felt like this is how I get high. It's just a matter of, I feel like because it's so taboo, especially on LinkedIn, when you're trying to look professional and convey authority and being a subject matter expert who is dependable and thought leader and all this other stuff, that being unprofessional, being candid, and being under the influence compromises and subverts your authority. That's not subvert, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Subverts your ability to promote yourself within the normal construct of the corporate world. When LinkedIn destroyed the corporate world, because LinkedIn is the internet. It's not the corporate world. It's the antithesis of the corporate world.
Yeah, I think I get what it is you're saying. If that's the case as to why you would be smoking on here, is just to, not show a perfect version of yourself where you're in a suit and like you're just asking these questions to people. Just the of you smoking kind of breaks that, and people feel like, one, like they can do a little bit more like, oh, this person smokes, okay, and they're smoking on something, or they're in the middle of an interview about business, but they're smoking. So it kind of gives like an interesting contrast in that sense. So if that's why you're doing it, then okay, that's not that it needs to be fine with me.
I need your approval. You are no, I really do. I really do appreciate.
You don't need my approval because again, this is your show.
This is my show,
and you can do whatever you want. It's helpful for me to know the reason is that, and not because I feel like you can't have a conversation, interesting discussion without being high. Like those are two different reasons.
Yeah, no, I can have conversations with people.
One, you're being intentional. The other one is like, it's almost like smoking is a crutch to help compensate for something. So that's not why you're doing that. You're just kind of actually doing that as like
it's a gimmick
image thing, right? So that's a different reason, which, if okay, sure, I see how this can help with what you're trying to aim for.
Also, being Haitian, this is my shot heard around the world, in that being black and male, black male image has been so subverted and warped, and in that if you're a black guy and you jump up in your on suit, some might say you're what's the term? There's it takes away from the idea that you are a serious person, that a person can takes away from the idea that you are a serious person who is of value. And specifically as a black male, the idea that you don't belong, and that you're being uppity, not because you are looking down on other people, but uppity in the sense that you think that you are more than you actually are. And so it subverts it by implanting this idea that it's not even an idea. It implants this feeling of imposter syndrome, where if you dress, maybe the more you dress, the fancier you dress, and the cleaner you dress, the more you'll be able to present yourself as being more of higher status, of more value, versus you showing up in a t-shirt.
So it's seen as you're insecure and we can see through you.
Yes, but it's a catch-22, because when you dress up very well, it's, oh, that guy's a sellout. But when you dress down and regular, it's, oh, you're not professional. Where does that boundary? There's no in between. You're either uppity or you're not, or you can't be taken seriously. And this is honestly the challenge that's actually happening right now with the whole situation with Jesselyn. I was gonna say Jesselyn Maxwell. Different person, different problem. Where is it? The president of Jesselyn, is it Jesselyn?
Harvard University?
Yeah, the Harvard University president who just stepped down. And it was a big thing for her, Claudine stepping down. It was a big thing for her to get the position, because Harvard is seen as the pinnacle of academia worldwide. I mean, there are countless other institutions who are up there, but to have a black person be the president of such a prestigious institution means a lot. But then to have this whole situation where she steps down due to plagiarism, it subverts the entire narrative, because now it's, oh, well, they didn't deserve it in the first place.
So what did she plagiarize?
Honestly,
what
with nowadays, like, I really don't even care.
So, like, in order to be, I know it's the process of becoming a president of a university, but like, what, you gotta write a dissertation and then they read it, and like, what did she plagiarize? Or are they saying when she was in school she plagiarized?
Well, the AP News is saying, I'll just read this real quick, because I have not read into this at all, so I think this is a great segue. It's from the AP News, came out yesterday at 4:30 p.m. Americans' higher education has long viewed plagiarism as a cardinal sin Accusations of academic dishonesty have ruined the careers of faculty and undergraduates alike. And this isn't just like, oh, like, and this is true because even like last 2 months ago, there was a situation at Stanford where I think the head of the psychology department, I believe some of their papers were, there was some plagiarism happening there, and that's a whole issue in and of itself. But here, the latest target is Harvard President Claudine Gay, who resigned Tuesday. In her case, the outrage came not from her academic peers, but her political foes, led by conservatives who put her career under intense scrutiny. Reviews by Harvard found multiple shortcomings in Gay's academic citations, including in several instances of duplicative language. I don't even know what that means. The university concluded the errors were not considered intentional or reckless and didn't rise to misconduct, but the allegations continued, with new ones as recently as Monday. And it looks like she just was too much for her in the sense that
so her academic records, read some papers that she wrote, and found that the language she used sounded like language used before. And even under investigation, it wasn't concluded that she actually plagiarized. It just has this type of duplicate language
that makes it look like other people's words. But like, who isn't it? There's this thought. Sorry, I need to finish eating. My blood sugar's running low. There's this thought experiment that talks about that if you take 1,000 monkeys and they're all typing on a typewriter for like 1,000 years, you can rewrite the entire works of Shakespeare. They don't know what they're typing. They're just hallucinating, which is literally the same way that we describe AI. Like, you can, if the right prompt into ChatGPT, it can probably rewrite you Shakespeare, but probably because it was trained on Shakespeare. But this isn't like we're talking about another universe. Like, if I start talking about trees, I'm probably going to repeat things about trees that other people have said. And so in that sense, it's duplicative language. But
well, just based off of that information, because I don't really know too much about what is happening with this president, which I will say for people to take what I'm about to say, I guess, lightly until they do their research to further be more informed about what happened. But yeah, I think she probably should have stuck through that. I mean, haters gonna hate.
Haters
I know
are
it sounds super
hate.
simplified, but like, that's, we don't make waves unless we push. So I know mental health is an important thing, and I feel like she probably made that decision just because, like, a bitch be tired, of all these haters coming down my throat saying, like, I copied something, which this even falls into music. Nothing is ever going to be original at this point. Like, there's paper that she could have ever written that will be an original thought that has not been thought of before or said in the manner that it was said, because everything has basically happened and everything has already been said, even in music. Like, even when we develop new genres of music, there are aspects of previous genres in that genre. Maybe in this new genre, we removed the bass being played this sense, and now this sound goes here. But it's not just an entirely new thing. So I guess literally everyone's plagiarized at this point. But that's what makes something seem original is through your lens. So how was your input of what you just experienced from your perspective? Share that with me. And if I play the same song and I had 5 different people listening to it, I might, like, the underlying theme might be the same, but the way people internalized it is different. So maybe that's where the original aspect of it. I was watching like a YouTube video and I forget who this was and everything, but basically his example was, okay, an orange. Orange is not a new concept, like an orange is, but then if you cut the orange in half, it's no longer just the exact same orange, it's halved. Then you cut into quarts, it's still the same orange, but now it looks different. And then you cut into eighths. Now there are 8 different pieces of this same orange, but it looks different from the 4th. So like, basically that's what has happened in any human work, is that we take an orange and then we cut it up the way that we want to cut it up. But it's still an orange. It's still the same thing. But the way you've kind of constructed it is what makes it original, in a sense. Is that okay?
Yeah.
R&B. Like there's a whole bunch of R&B artists who have a same sound, but then you may like SZA for her sound because of the way she goes about it. But it's still R&B. Like
it's a matter of, it's like you said, like there's nothing, it sounds like you're saying there's nothing new, but people are basically, whenever they come to do new work, they're not necessarily that they're new, but they're starting and working from
based off of an already built foundation of whatever it is that they're exploring.
Yes.
So you are a sum of many ideas. What did they say? Duplicative language? Duplicate language?
Yeah.
Language? What does that even mean? Like, is it how she said it? Because, yeah, that's a weird...
The Free Beacon also reported the same article by Gay had borrowed language from a book by the New School professor Alex F. Schwartz. Swin did not mention any updates requests regarding Schwartz's book, but which was cited but not directly quoted from. A passage in Gay's 2001 article described Bobo and Gillum's study using nearly identical wording to theirs. The passage was preceded by a citation, but did not directly quote any of the similar language. And then it looks like they have a side-by-side here.
Okay, well, now that I see it, then sure. Yeah, those are the literal exact words being used. Maybe if, as she was reading this article, if it was summed in her own words, what she got from when she read it, then you would use your own words as to what you're reading. So sure.
This is such a sad, like, I was gonna call this like a clusterfuck, but this is worse than a clusterfuck, because this is a tragedy, because on multiple levels. First of all, we're gonna take a moment to just read what this article that they're talking about quotes. It's a little problem that's happening right now. So this is the situation is a plagiarism on life, but capitalism itself, in contrast to academia, is pegged on keeping things simple yet highly duplicative. In that, if I create an iPhone and I sell you an iPhone, someone else comes back and wants to buy another iPhone, it has to be the exact same, because we understand what the word iPhone means within a general context. Simple example of like McDonald's systematized through lean manufacturing and having things be standardized through a process flow, but that's not new. Like Henry Ford did that in the 40s or the 20s or whatever, because it works. It's like, oh, you're plagiarizing because you drink water through your mouth. Like, no, this is where water goes. Like, I could invent a new way to drink water, but that's necessary. In academia, if you do that,
yeah. So
copying,
yeah,
it's
because you have context. When you're in business, it's like work harder, work
smarter, not harder.
So if there's a system that's already in place for something that you're trying to do, just literally take that system and just implement it into your thing. For academia, I do understand that academia, obviously, depending on the subject matter, has to do with like like ideas and how to communicate ideas and critical thinking and analyzing things. So I don't know what this paper is about or what was the intention of this paper. But to my understanding, because I have gone to college and I have written papers as well, and you had to do the whole either the APA or the whatever
MLA.
citation annoying thing. But you still gotta learn it because then this shit happens. Is if she wanted to use this Lawrence D. Bobo and Franklin D. Gilliam 1990 thing, is like if you're gonna take a direct quote, it's fine to do that, but you have to cite it. And it can't be like, and then when you're citing something, it's to help to understand where your thought is coming from. So the thought of, the results show that Blacks in high Black empowerment areas, as indicated by the control of the mayor's office, are more active than either Blacks living in low empowerment areas. Like, so there's this idea of, okay, we're talking about Black empowerment areas. Okay, so what about this idea from this article are you trying again to expand about? Like, what argument? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it's supposed to be
looking
like
at the words.
like when you're climbing a ladder, it's like, well, this is the idea, and I kind of got this. I initially heard about this idea from this, so just to let inform the reader, citation X, Y, and Z. From this, the idea, it actually made me think about this, and then in your own words you continue off from that. And then let's say you have a statistic. I don't one who went out and found this data. I got this data from Daily News. From Daily News, they say that 55% of Blacks in whatever, so then you cite that, like that's where I got that data from. And that data tells me that this is happening. So like, to my understanding, to avoid, like, you don't want to just copy paste people's words and then claim it as your own. Like this came from me personally. It's like, no, it's good to like, honestly, the initial thought of this idea came from this, but to just kind of expand on that, I realized that this, that, and the third, or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of like when you buy a book, like a self-help book. Do you want different self-help books about different aspects of an idea, or do you want the same self-help book with a different title? So yeah, it is. I'm not going to, things are done for a reason. I wish cis didn't have to step down. I think having, a Black president at an esteemed white, usually known to be a white college for just the white peoples.
White and Asian.
But I will also say that they probably didn't put this type of scrutiny to the former white presidents, which probably did the same thing. Like, I don't, it's like, is this fair? It's fair in the sense that, okay, yeah, you probably shouldn't just copy paste things and plagiarize. But at the same time, this scrutiny is only being done because I'm this type of particular person. And let's go back and let's go check the academics of so-and-so. Were they true to that? So it's like, I understand both sides.
It just seems, it's like a double standard in that way, because she's a Black woman.
Mm-hmm. But then this is just one paper. Like, I'm pretty sure if someone were to go back to my school papers, and if if I just had a deadline and this paper's to be done, we just gonna copy paste, maybe change this word around, like that. This is just one paper.
Well, I mean, they said a couple here.
To me, I have a leniency Harvard does not. So to me, it's like, one paper is just one paper.
But she is supposed to be the president.
But there's no
So
way
there's a
she went
standard,
through all of college and all she did was plagiarize for everything. And she
Yeah.
didn't work,
Yeah,
So it's
she
like,
didn't fall.
it's
She
like,
didn't
is
accidentally
this select?
get into Harvard and then like accidentally become a PhD and then
Right, like there's only so much of lying.
Bro,
Lying. I mean,
lie
Joanne the
through Harvard.
scammer, scams, and there's only so many scams that Joanne the scammer can scam on until like people are just like, hold up. It's like, so to me, it's like, ugh, nobody's perfect, but if Harvard wants to, I don't know.
They didn't fire her. She resigned. She didn't have to resign.
And that's the other thing. They didn't even fire her because I think if we truly looked into plagiarism in these universities, I think we would see a lot of it. People are very stressed, so being under stress. So, by the way, Andy, what hour are we on? Because
this is kind of going on quite a bit. It's 3:22 here. I don't really have a timer on this. But yeah, we were supposed to go an hour, no more than 2. I'm going to be using AI to go through and kind of chop up the oohs and the ums and the weird pauses just to consolidate it all down. But I think the last thing I'll say on this topic before we move on to the last question is intellectual property is the crux on it in terms of the difference of the impact of how to interpret this between capitalism, academia, and music, which is also within capitalism, is intellectual property, especially talking about it on LinkedIn. I don't think
and then when you add AI on top of that,
intellectual property rights are a huge thing. And just an update, kind of interesting thing in terms of right of use and copyright infringement. 2024, as of January 1st, is the first. As of now, you can actually use Steamboat Mickey. It finally entered public domain for other people to use. It was supposed to enter public domain in 2000. I think it might be 2010. It was like 1990, 2010, and then they couldn't get another one done. And so Disney didn't file. They were like, you know what? They believed that the backlash would be so crazy that it would have harmed their brand, so they let it go. But it's only Steamboat Mickey, and you can't use any other Mickey Mouse version after like 1940. But yeah, so yeah, public domain intellectual property, it's a whole thing. So to wrap this up, the last question is, what was it like for you when you first started?
I was excited. Because whenever you're going into something that you've always wanted to do, and you're just like, you know what, I'm doing it. It's exciting. That's what kind of fuels you into that direction. And then when it came time to like actually putting those first set of songs, I'm pretty sure I had a breakdown. Because then all the negative was like, oh, what if it's not well received or blah, blah, blah. Funny enough, out of everything that I've dropped, that first video has like the highest views, and so that's an interesting thing. But yeah, very excited. And then, your brain creates obstacles and gets annoying, but that's just part of the journey, is moving past I'm gonna do this despite feeling what was it? Syndrome?
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Despite this imposter syndrome, my wanting to do this surpasses that. Like, it's more important that I do this than the fact that I feel like I don't belong in this space. And from there, you just start to really reflect on like, what does this even, mean to you? And it's causing all this grief, so why do you want to still do it? Well, you have your reasons, and because of that reason, you're gonna push forward anyway. And I think that's how most people are able to make a breakthrough, is to push yourself, continue despite everything.
You kind of, it's the eudaimonia. You gotta fight through the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Next question is why you continue along this path, which I feel like you touch base on. If you want to, why do you continue?
Why do I personally create music? One, I got into music because I just connected with it. It is a way to release certain emotions. Like when I listen to a Paramore song and I sing Haley's lyrics, it's like, yo, I get it. And the way that you're singing this right now is like A1. And I'm just connecting. So there's a sense of connection, also connection with yourself. And the other flip side of that I'm leaning more into, when you're no longer, it's one thing when like you switch from being the listener of music and then being the person who's creating it and then putting it out to the world. So another thing that I want to put out music is like I've experienced life, and just in the way that Haley Williams has experienced life and then decided to create from there. And now I feel more seen, or an emotion that I didn't know how to put into words is now in this song. You know, you're helping someone else as well. Like you don't know. Yeah, the effects of music is crazy. Like you could literally save someone's life with the music that you put out. So I do it, it's always in the back of my mind. Like it's no longer just, oh, I just want to make this song because, you know, it makes me feel good. It's more so, what is even the meaning or the intention about this? So even with my lo-fi stuff, like the reason why I did Caribbean lo-fi was because there is no really Caribbean lo-fi out there. Like with like reggae or compa influences, it's more of like the classical stuff, and jazz, you know, is a part of it, but the Caribbean has a sound in itself. So it's cool to like hear your own background kind of influencing a musical space. So that's another connection. It's like, wow, this feels nostalgic. And then the whole idea of lo-fi is to create calm or focus. So I would like to be a part of someone's calm or focus, or if they just need music to wind down to, like, I want to be a part of that. Yeah. I'll end right there for that question.
That kind of rolls into our next question is what is your dream? Yeah, we're getting all the goodies.
Yeah, so I could say music. At the end of the day, my truest dream for myself is to obtain my freedom of time. So like I would eventually like for my love of music and what I bring to music to actually help me financially, right? Now I'm working in the healthcare system, and I love to help people, but I do feel a sense of calling with music, and I would like to spend more time doing that. But unfortunately, Uncle Sam, you know, he's a hoe. He be knocking on everybody's door, and also bills. I'm an adult, unfortunately. You know, being an adult is ghetto, but we all gotta, if you want to live life, you eventually have to become an adult, and you gotta pay these bills, and you gotta pay your taxes and all this. So yeah, my dream is to be able to just do whatever I want, no matter the day or time. And that's a part of it, is having financial freedom. So I don't let that be the sole drive of the reason why I do music is, oh, to get money. Right now I have a job that can pay the bills, but in my heart, in my soul, truly, if I were to make something a career and work day and night, like it doesn't even have to be 9 to 5. I could do this music thing up until overtime, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And that'll be okay with me, because that's what I want to do. Like I want to spend 12 hours of my day working on music, no matter how self-criticizing I am about myself or whatever. Like, I like the hard parts of when it comes to doing music. I dislike the hard parts of what I do during my day job. Like, I do not ask me overtime. As soon as, it's time to clock out, I'm out. Okay? It's a 9 to 5.
Nine
So
to
it needs to
five.
end at 5 on the dot. Clearly, I don't want to spend a lot of my life in that area. So that should mean something to me. And I think I should lean into that. Because I'm kind of going on a side tangent, but I do believe that even the career that we do, I think it can shorten your life. Like, is that the type of stress you want to continue? Is this stress okay? And if it's not, and it's not the good type of stress, like the good type of stress I feel like I have when I create music, it's like challenging me in a particular way that I enjoy. But the challenge that I get at this other job, I don't feel okay. Like, it's just stress. Like, it does not help me. I feel like it somewhat shortens my life, you know? I'm happy to have helped the people that I've helped in this job, but
Yeah.
I'd rather that stress come from something else. So yeah, my dream is to have freedom of my time through somehow being able to have music be the main source of income. And of course, I also think of investments, which is a more passive income, which does not start out passive. In the beginning, you got to put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears before that becomes passive, and I completely understand that. But that stress I'm willing to do because I understand the long terms of that. So there's my investment stuff, but to invest, you got to have money to begin with. So yeah, it's a whole circle. But again, my dream is to have freedom of time where I just choose to do whatever I want when I want.
Nice. I was actually gonna. It sounds well. There's so much I want to talk to you about this on the back end. Sorry, so much more I want to talk to you about this, but I suppose we might be able to just book another call just for the sake of time. I think the main thing I'll say is that to your point about the difference in stress, because you're saying that you experience stress at work, but you don't like, but then there's stress that you experience while you're making music that you do like. And it's interesting because I know there are probably people in the world who would love to do your job and actually because they just enjoy doing that type of work. And I would argue and suggest that this is an opportunity within the economy where we're able to create more value for people by having people do the work that they want to do. Like, you want to make music. A lot of people want to make music. A lot of people want to be painters and dancers. We don't need everyone to be painters and dancers. Like, I don't necessarily want to be a musician. Like, I'd love to play the guitar, but for fun. Like, I don't care to make money off of it. If I don't make it's fine. But you do. Other people, I would say, we also want to do what you do for work. But I think finding those people and helping them get to where they want to be, I think is an opportunity for economic change in the world. So thank you for saying that. And then lastly, where can they find you?
You can find me everywhere. Just at Saint Psy Music at literally every platform, Instagram, Threads.
You're on Threads?
Yes, I am on Threads.
I have not. Me, the social media person, is not on Threads. Just
On YouTube, I'm Saint Psy Lo-Fi. So there's two, either Saint Psy Lo-Fi or at Saint Psy Music. Literally every other platform except for YouTube. YouTube is Saint Psy Lo-Fi.
I'm not finding you on
Saint Psy Music.
Oh, Saint Psy Music. Boom. Here we go. Yep. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm just gonna make it easy for everybody watching. Oh, no, I know how to do it. No, I was gonna create a URL. I gotta figure out another way. There's a way to make these into a URL really quickly, so people can. Sorry, QR code. It's fine. I'll go when I'm. Okay, I'm just gonna cut this part out. I'll just add links to the video here so people can cut and link up to you. Links are in the description below. Follow. I want to thank you for your time today. I think we definitely went over and we had many technical difficulties. But I forgot, also you have merch. If anybody wants to pick up merch, definitely hop on this one. Is that a book? Is that a journal?
Yep, it's a journal. So if you're someone who doesn't want to journal on their phone, because I know that's a thing, sometimes it's good to write on paper. The feel of writing and then putting your thoughts down or just reflecting through the physical motion of writing can be helpful. So yeah, I have 2 notebooks, and then I have 2 mugs with different designs. All of these are from my past albums. As you can see, it's my profile pic for Saint Sai. So it's just to celebrate Saint Sai, and also in the theme of lo-fi and cozy vibes, there's a nice coffee mug, there's a notebook, and then there's a cozy hoodie for all my Caribbean peeps. We giving off Caribbean vibes.
Stay cozy.
Or if you're not Caribbean, that's okay. I make music for everybody. We are all inclusive over here. Okay? If you are in Jamaica and you're just feeling the Caribbean vibes, there's nothing to, we don't have to like, whoa, this is only for these, it's a beautiful thing to share. And I think my views on being a culture appropriation, it's changing, because I would be a hypocrite. Oh, I see your face looks
No, I want to hear this. This is interesting.
So yes, I think we should dig deeper into when we say culture appropriation and all of that. For example, as you know, I love Japanese culture, and I've included that into Saint Sai when it comes to like the art style of Saint Sai. It's a little bit on anime, but clearly it's not anime because it wasn't made in Japan by Japanese peoples. Made by someone that I hired who was not Japanese. But I still think Japanese culture is dope. Will I ever claim that, this is my style? No, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I think that's important. Again, cite your sources. Where did you even get this idea from? Well, now you know. I love anime, love the Japanese culture. The funny thing is how, other than, Black people, which I understand the history, it's like anything we touched and other cultures or races knew, oh, that's Black. It was just bad. You don't get paid enough for it. You get criticized for it, and people devalue it, say, oh, it's ghetto, it's Black, it's dirty, it's no good. Then all of a sudden there's a flip. Someone from the other culture is doing it, and then now it's like a big thing. It's cute, it's cool, it's hip. So I get it. And I think when it gets to that end where the person who was influenced by Black culture takes it for their own and doesn't understand there's a history to it. You're not this way. You're this didn't influence you out of nowhere. It came from somewhere. So admit, yeah, this is from this, but it's kind of now they see the beauty of it. It's not a black and white, very nuanced. But I think there's a healthier way to approach that. When does it become appreciation for it and not just appropriating it? And then what does it truly mean to appropriate it? So again, with what I was saying, we are a collective of our experiences. So for a white person that was raised in a Black neighborhood, and when I say that loosely, because then we go into socioeconomics. If you're in a rich Black neighborhood, it's different than if you're like in a lower income. People move different. It makes sense because money changes things. But if that's how you were raised and how you talk and how you move and how you go about life, like that's just how you were raised. That's just how you talk. It's not, oh, I'm trying to steal from these people. It's just, I just grew up that way. Or on the flip side, a lot of Japanese people or people in the world, when it comes to like R&B music or hip hop,
K-pop.
people hear it, and just like how we feel that stuff is cool and dope and it sounds cool, like, people internalize that and like, wow, this sounds really cool and dope. I want to create something like that. So should we stop them from like, I don't know. It's not a very black and white thing for me. So I'm still trying to figure it out for myself. But I'm not like I'm not going to immediately think, oh, they're a culture vulture immediately.
No, and even in food, like for whatever reason, Mamafoku, Asian fusion, I think it was like Stephen or David Chow, was a huge thing a couple years ago. But he was fusing different. It was like Asian bistro. It's like, wait, what? But it was a huge thing, and there's a huge brand. He's got several restaurants here in LA, one in Vegas, and yeah, like, and you see this a lot in food. Like you put some of this spice with that spice, and it's good. I think the best.
Yeah, and someone that dared to like mix the two up, and then you create this whole other thing. Whoa, what an interesting thing you did there. Wow.
Yeah, like Indians don't eat. I think tikka masala. I think it's tikka masala. Like that's not a natural Indian dish. Like that was made for British people during colonialism. But same thing with.
But it tastes amazing.
It tastes amazing. Egg foo young or something like that. That was made in San Francisco. And same thing with pizza. New York pizza is not the pizza that they made in Italy in Neapolitan. Like that's not, like, people will come for you if you espouse that. But New York pizza is delicious. Chicago pizza's trash. I'm kidding. It's okay. I guess.
Wow.
It's lasagna. It's not pizza. I just think it's lasagna. Anyway, come and fight me. This is how we get more views, because now we have controversy. It's interesting now. But yeah, to your point about appropriation, there's appropriating and there's mixing, but like nobody cites which spices they put in their sauce. It's like, hey, this isn't Mexican food. You have tofu in this. I was like, yeah, but it's delicious. Still eating it.
So here's a good example, right? Like hip hop lovers are like purists. Like, either you hip hop or you not. Eminem,
Brooklyn,
right?
every day.
White kid. Why is it that black people felt it was okay for Eminem to rap, but not? Do you know Logic? Or no, Macklemore is a better example, because he's to be a rapper, right? That's what he claims.
I think so.
Right? Okay. Yeah, you can search that up. Why that?
Yep, wow. American rapper.
Yeah. Okay, American rapper. There you go. So, okay, what I'm about to say.
Break the internet, Balu. We're breaking LinkedIn. We're breaking LinkedIn.
Okay. Do I listen to Macklemore music? No. Is it for me? No. But maybe Macklemore is another sect of hip hop, which I feel like, for example, Will Smith, when he was doing hip hop, it was kind of like what they were giving, like, oh, he's not real hip hop. I'm not sure if you know this. Like, they were kind of giving him like, nah, bro, you're not really giving us true hip hop. It's like same way how us black people, like, we don't want to, like, just because I'm black don't mean like all the stereotypes that you could think of that you've heard. No, being black is a nuanced thing, because one, I'm human. So same thing with hip hop. Hip hop is music. Like, you know, you can have an Eminem rap where it it to home. I feel like that's why we're more accepting of Eminem, especially in his earlier days for Black people. Like, oh, it's closer to home. And he kind of grew up in that. So it feels a bit more authentic compared to Macklemore. It just seems like he just hopped on the on in life. But it's him to make this music, which kudos to him. Like, you want to rap about thrift shop and whatever, like, just do it. Do it. You never know. Oh, because of Macklemore now, I mean, some people, it's okay to not like it. You don't have to like it. It was not made for you. That's okay. Move on. But do we have to like bring him down and like whatever? I will say probably it was annoying that, you know, he got, what was it, the Grammys? He got like the hip hop award. But it's like, what is the Grammys? Should we care about the Grammys? The Grammys is honestly just an arbitrary award system because these people voted. Like, who cares? Just if that's not for you, move on.
I think at
this point, the Grammys doesn't have that much weight. I think even the general public is like, we're over the Grammys. Like, who cares? It's like, just make music. If you happen to get an award at the Grammys and you win, it's not important. I think it's because there was a weight and an importance to the Grammys as to why that offended the hip hop community that he got that award. But like, I feel like at this point, it's like the Grammys is the Grammys. It's like, who cares? Someone connected with it. Someone enjoyed it. Kudos to Macklemore for making music that, you know, helped to connect a community of like-minded people towards Macklemore. Okay, then that's it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I might be canceled.
Oh man, we're not gonna talk about it.
Well, but that's how I'm feeling about the whole culture appropriation thing. Like, at the end of the day, the whole point of us having civil rights as Black peoples, can people just view me as human? And I think that's like one of the first steps is not being so like hung up on an idea of like, oh, this is ours. It's like, unfortunately, it's kind of unequal when someone else takes something that kind of originated from Black people and then they kind of get higher success. I understand that, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen. But we too, as Black people, we take from other cultures as well. It's all about just like, I take from others because we're all human. At the end of the day, they're basic human emotions that may correlate with this sound or whatever. And at the end of the day, we're just all trying to connect, feel seen, feel heard. So hopefully I think Macklemore did his music out of appreciation for hip hop. People in hip hop might be offended because they don't like it. You know, it's like, that's a different thing. Like, you just like it, and that's okay. But, you know, make your music. Hopefully, you know, the people that were the hip hop have gotten their flowers and continue to influence future humans. I feel like that would be a healthier approach. Even on the other side, other races, this is an idealistic world where, you know, they praise the Black counterpart and financially support those people just the same as, you know, the other counterpart of the human race. I feel like if it were like that, the term culture appropriating wouldn't necessarily be a thing, because it's just seen as, we just appreciate it.
It's like you're feeling it, and so you want to resonate with it, participate.
Yeah.
Like a drum circle. Like if you go to, if anybody here would ever been to like New York and Central Park, and this came to mind because my bongos here. Many times you'll go in and find people in drum circles playing with djembes and bongos, making music, and who doesn't want to join in? Because it's fun.
Yeah, it's like this is enticing, and it's
Attractive.
like, whoa, this beat. Wow, this beat. Can I create a beat similar to this feeling? And that's all it boils down to. You know, it's unfair. You know, certain systems will promote someone that looks a little different, but you can't help that Black culture is dope. That's all that Black culture is so dope. At this point, the majority of the top hits, it's hip hop, R&B. You know, we're just so dope that we've just everything, and everyone wants to be a part of it. So I'm gonna take that as appreciation, and hopefully we Black people, the income gap, you know, starts to get smaller when it comes to that. But then I gotta look into that, like, are Black people not getting, are Black hip-hop artists not being paid enough or have the same spotlight as their white counterparts?
I think that to the whole situation that happened earlier with like a week or a half ago with Color Purple movie that came out, Oprah's remake with, I can't remember her name. Oh man.
Are you thinking about like Fantasia?
No,
or...
Tahaji talking about she feels like she was underpaid, even in the color. I mean, I wasn't even sure if it was in the Color Purple. She feels like she was underpaid, but there were other movies that she feels like she was greatly underpaid, versus her white counterparts, just because of being a Black woman in Hollywood. And but to your point, yeah, like Black hip hop, hip hop is it lived the world. Back in 2018, Business Insider published this, that for the first time in history, hip hop surpasses rock and roll as the most dominant popular genre of music globally. And right behind that, I would say, is Afro beats. Like it resonates.
And yeah, we can't be upset that, you know, our stuff is so dope that other people would like to join in. The big issue, as Taraji mentioned, is the economical inequalities. I think culture appropriation, which I don't think is appropriation, I think it's culture appreciation, is fine. It's the systems around that are unfair. It's like there are a whole bunch of movies where, like, a Black person could have been casted, but they felt like you weren't on brand because you're Black. And it's like, yeah, well, okay, that's weird. Get that from her, and that's something that definitely needs to be addressed and more evenly playing. Because as she said, she got bills to pay too. Just because she gets $2 million don't mean she gets $2 million. You know, she gonna get 500,000, which in my book I would love to have. But compared to, she's been doing this for like, she is an actor. She should be paid the same, like, equates to her experience being in this business. So I don't know how to fix that. I think Hollywood was built white first and then allowed for others. And I think that's been the issue. So now what Tyler Perry was doing was creating like a Black Hollywood. So then, you know, it's like a switch years, then we're gonna make this all the way over here. But if we can somehow, like, let's bring it together and just remember we're all human. We have different human experiences and all of that. Just because I'm darker skin, like, why am I getting paid less? Like, it makes zero sense. You know,
it's an emotion, and it's an emotional thing, I think. But the irony is that it still resonates even more. like having John Boyega, who was playing a clone in Star Wars, like everybody wanted him to go and become a Jedi. Same thing with Miles Morales and Spider-Man, and Childish Gambino for Spider-Man. Like,
and I feel like, you know, throughout the course of history, ideally, when you have too much of one thing, then it goes to the other side, then you start to have too much of the other thing, to the point where it should have eventually balanced out. So, I mean, my understanding, even the gender wage gap is slowly decreasing because women have been vocal, and so the gap is getting smaller. You know, if I was doing my job 1940s, like my pay would look different because context. So there have been good changes. So it's like Hollywood is, you know, at that interesting phase where things are being voiced, people are hearing it, seeing it. What needs to change are probably the higher ups, who are the gatekeepers of entertainment. They need to die, and then the next generation can, you know, they actually understand the issues that they're hearing, and then things start to become more equal. And unfortunately, Taraji's at that point of history where, you know, she has to be the catalyst to it, you know, which sucks. It's like, dang. But
I think it's opportunity, because even what I'm doing right now, though, because Hollywood, yeah, like you said, there are gatekeepers, but now because of YouTube, you don't need a Tyler Perry studio to do a Tyler Perry movie.
There are avenues.
There are other avenues. Cheaper.
You don't have.
Like, I'm literally in my van filming this right now on a laptop, and this is what this is all this podcast within this format, to show how cheap and inexpensive it is to do this.
Yep. So
just do it.
Yeah, if for now we got the Tyler Perry thing, where like we literally just have Black Hollywood, where now he's at a point where he can actually pay Black actors at the same as their counterparts, and then that industry sees, whoa, you know, they're making all this money and with Black people, then it's like, you know, maybe, of course it's pandering, but it's like, oh, well, let's get some more Black people in here so that, you know, we too can get, then hopefully the hearts of those corporate people, either they just die or like new people come in where they're like, they just see Black people for who they are. They're just humans. Yeah, why aren't we paying them the same as this person has the same amount of experience with the same everything? Like, why are they getting paid less? Like what's happening here? So then things start to, it's hard to be an optimist, but that literally has to be what happens. It's just new people come into power and things change.
Changing of the guard. At that, I think we'll have to make note of the changing of the times and just end it out here. Valu, thank you for coming on to the 9 to 5 show. Oh, I have a seagull on my... We have a friend.
Oh.
Yeah, some bird just landed on the roof.
Who has something to say about Black Hollywood?
What you want to say about Black Hollywood?
No, I'm kidding.
No? Okay. No, I was going to talk about Black Hollywood and Bollywood, but again, this conversation goes on forever. Thank you for coming on the show. This will be posted on LinkedIn. We're breaking LinkedIn. We're one video at a time. And to everybody out there, like and subscribe below to 9 to 5 show. If you want to join us, just go ahead and you can scan this code and you can go on my Calendly, book a session. This is acting weird. And we'll interview you again. But yeah, thank you. Balu, take care, and we'll play you out. Sorry, I didn't mean to do this. I meant to do this.
Gang signs?
Don't have gang signs. Nah, we're like, this is a hint. Okay, talking about cultural appropriation. This is a Hindu thing that's like, it's like,
okay.
And this means,
okay. Yeah, better mean peace.
Peace and love.
Out here, hanging out over here. No, I'm kidding.
Oh God, the least hood person in the world. All right, we're out here. Hindi out. All right, stop recording.
Recording stopped.
Edit for me.